for today's session. Okay.
Okay. Hi, Rahul.
Yeah.
Hi, Anil.
Yes. So
So-
he will be the person for today, and
Okay.
who are missing the session, we will share the recorded session immediately after the session,
Yeah.
and I will share that. Okay.
Definitely. So let's wait for another 3-4 minutes. We still.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll start 4:05.
Yeah. We'll start.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
So Anil, can we start?
We have 10 participants, like
Yeah.
including us.
We have.
7 actually.
Pardon?
Yeah, including us.
Yeah, including us. I think because
So-
of, I think most of the guys have college, I think.
Yeah.
So
Anyways, we are going to share the meeting link with them now. Recorded meeting
right,
later on.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
We will share the.
yeah. So
Okay.
participants, are you okay with that? Shall we start now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, as you just said, then we are good to go. We can start now.
Right. So, good afternoon, guys. Myself, Shiju, and we are from BIM Labs Engineering Services Private Limited. We are partnered with Autodesk as a learning partner for CAD and BIM training services in India. We have been associating with NSTC for India Skills since 2018. And we are very much honored and excited to be supporting you guys to win the prestigious India Skills contest. And we hope everybody will be qualifying for regionals and nationals so that we can have a good team, competent team for World Skills. So this is a start of a session, and we have planned 9 sessions starting from today. And those who are missing the session, definitely we will share the recorded session and you can go through it. And anytime you can communicate to me. I am in the group, and you can ask any doubts in between. I can connect you with my technical team. So we are here to support you. We also want to create history. So hope you guys are also in the same spirit. So I am handing over the session to my colleague Rahul Raj. He's the coordinator of our project division BIM Lab Studio Private Limited. And Rahul will be giving you the idea about BIM setup and the project coordinating areas and all. So Rahul,
Yeah.
the floor is
Right, sir.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm audible, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Okay. So good evening, guys. Actually, Shizar introduced me. My name is Rahul Rai. I'm working at BIM Lab Studio Services Limited. It's a project division of BIM Labs. Currently working on certain BIM projects, and I'll be taking you to some of the projects also. So you will be having a practical, awareness how we set up our projects and how we work on them. So let me share my screen. Maybe an introductory part, it may be repetitive for you. You may have seen these things. Still, I'll be sharing. Yeah. Okay. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
And okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's a great opportunity for me to to address BIM enthusiasts. I am always interested in speaking to BIM enthusiasts. So yeah, let's right away just jump onto the session. So for this module, the module 1, it's about BIM setup. Okay, and we will be setting up the common data environment. I'll be explaining about what is common data environment and what is BP and how it relates to that ISO 19650 standards, how we can create a folder structure, how we can create that attributes over there in the document management in the CDE, and assigning project roles. All those things comes under in the CDE setup. Okay, so first we have to discuss why need to have a common data environment. So in BIM, you know that the information exchange, it is having a key role. Okay, the information, the right information, it should be available with the right person at the right time at the right place. That's the basic principle. And the BIM technology, adopting BIM technology makes it very easier. Okay, here this is a typical image. You can find it over there in the Google also. Here you can see how the data is exchanged and which one is organized and which one is not so organized. Here you can see the 2D data exchange that we were having in a traditional workflow. We know that a lot of exchange or lines over there. A particular information will be passing on to different persons from a person, and there is a lot of collisions, clashes, everything over there. But when we are adopting to BIM or building information technology, we'll be having a single source of information depository. Okay, we'll be adopting it as a common data environment. That's why it's called common data environment. We'll be having a single source of information where all the truth lies, where all the information that is required to complete that particular project lies. Okay, but that information that we are providing over there in the CDE, it should be secure, right? All the information should not be available like in a vague way. We have to provide certain permissions. We have to allocate certain restrictions to that information also. For example, a structural design data, it may be it is a part of a BIM project, but it should, it may not be available with an operational maintenance or any other person, a site level person. So these kind of restrictions, all those things should be provided. A common data environment, a lot of Autodesk developed BIM 360. I'll be jumping onto that platform also, where I'll be setting up the project and how I'll be creating the folder structure. So BIM 360 is a common data environment where we can manage the project informations. Okay, so we know that in BIM projects, a lot of stakeholders are there. Engineers, as you can see in the BIM operability circle, architects, engineer, fabricators, project manager, client, all those stakeholders will be there. And all these stakeholders need to have that information right away. Usually, according to ISO 19650, which is the international standard for the information exchange or a BIM information exchange that is published. Usually the common data environment or the owner will be the appointed party. There are certain terms that you have to be familiar with when you are going for the digital construction. Because I recommend you to go through a brief about ISO 19650, where you can find a lot of terms like appointed party, appointing party, this kind of things. Usually, appointing party will be the client, and appointed party will be the lead designers, who are working on that. So a common data environment will be established, and after that, all the stakeholders will be added to the project, and it may be from several companies also, right? It goes in BIM or in a project. We know that contractors, designers, BPCs, all these stakeholders are there. They may not be from one office, so different offices will be there, and the information will be available in a single source, and whatever information required by these stakeholders will have to be allocated in a precise way. Okay, so now we know that common data environment, it serves us in the single depository information system. So yeah, I'll be jumping to the BIM 360, and before that I'll be going for some of the BP, and there is a term called BP also, BIM execution plan. So usually BIM execution plan serves as a document to which you will be referring to when you are under in a BIM project. So there are certain levels with which you will be creating models. I think you are familiar with the asset information model, project information model, because these are the basic things, right? So whenever we start a BIM project, we know that there will be an ER, or previously it was called exchange information requirement, or EIR. Still is sorry, employee information requirement. Now it's called exchange information requirement. So what is the output that we needed over there when we are going for when we are adopting a BIM standard over there in our project? That will be listed over there. So what are the client requirements that will be listed over there in the exchange information requirement? I'll be showing you a document also, and you will be getting a much more idea. And this is a particular, this is an important table that you have to be, have in mind with whenever you are working on a BIM project. The decisions that will be creating asset information product, and the asset information model will be there, and project information model will be there, that will be developing through certain tools. A lot of tools are available over there in the industry, and I'll be showing you the Revit, which is the building information model and product tool that is developed by Autodesk. So this is a table. It is already over there in the ISO 19650. You can go through that. And also there's a word called folder system. I told you about like the information should be available in a sequential way or in a correct way or a secure way. So how we will be developing, or how we will be depositing these informations, or through which way we will have to go to access a particular information. We need to know about which one is currently working on. We need to know what is shared or what is approved, what is currently being reviewed, or what is archived for the future references. So this is a standard folder structure that is recommended by ISO 19650. Usually when we create project or folder structure over in our BIM 360, we'll be adopting a particular folder structure that is relating to this chart. There will be a work in progress folder. In work in progress folder, so whenever a stakeholder who will be working over there in a particular design or in a particular drawing, whatever it is, or in a model, that will be deposited over there in the work in progress folder. So there is no confusion. It will be all these things will be already approved over there in the BEP, BIM execution plan, where what information should be available or what information should be deposited in a particular folder. So in work in progress folder, or in short, we'll be calling it WIP. In WIP, we'll be depositing a not verified design data, or it is not being verified. It is an in-house thing. Okay, draft developments, all those things will be here. And there are certain suitability codes also. If you refer to 19650, there are certain suitability codes having a prefix of S and followed by a number. Here you can see on the second one in the shared folder or the shared chart, you will be able to see certain suitability codes. So after being developing the information that is required to complete a project, I need to share it to the another stakeholder, the second levels or second stage to get it approved, right? After developing, it has to be approved. So the approval stage, in the approval stage also, a model which is ready for coordination, it will be having a certain suitability code. For example, S1, it will be having a certain suitability code, and information created from the S1 model that will be having a suitability code S2. So there are certain conventions also, because since BIM fabricate is a particular standards, it means that every model, every data, or every sheets that you're preparing in the BIM project, it will be having a certain standard convention. I think you have heard about the naming conventions also, the model naming conventions, sheet naming conventions. All those things are described over there in the ISO standard also. So there is a certain standard. It should be starting with the project coordinator. It should be the originator code will be there, discipline code, plan code. All those things will be there. I'll be showing you that one also. So whenever you are adopting a BIM, whenever you are doing a project in BIM, you have to stick to certain standards. And ISO 19620, it outlines or describes that standards, so that our information exchange is easy. So from work in progress, from the shared folder, it will be having certain authorization, and it will be going to the published documentation. Published means it is suitable for tender, posting, contractor design. All those things will be there. So whenever I have to take a particular document for construction, I'll be straightly going to the published documentation folder. No need to go for the work in progress. No need to go for the shared folder. I think usually all the companies have this type of folder system, right? We can create this folder system in the common data environment, and I'll be showing you how to create that folder system, and also how to create a folder structure that can be connected to desktop connector. Usually we'll be having a cloud system. We have to log into the cloud, and there is a easy way we can do this particular thing using a desktop connector. I'll be showing you how to download that one also, and how we can create folder system. And after that, we have to input a lot of project information, because whenever we are creating a BEP, the first few pages, it will be having the information about the project, the stakeholders, its contact information, all those things. Similarly, a project, whenever we are starting a project, the primary things that we have to do will be, we have to allocate, we have to provide the project information, what is the location, and all those things. And after that, we have to straightly jump away to creating a template. Or if you are working with a view template, it's better. Or we have to go for that project browser. Project browser organization is having a key role in organizing data when we are creating a model. How we are creating it? Usually the folder system that I explained over here, we can straight away create that over there in the Revit. I will be using Revit. So we can create that over there also. I'll be showing them how can we organize the project browser. That's over there in the module also. You can do that. And creating grids, levels, those are the basic stuffs. It's very easy. And importing drawings, it's very easy. Whenever if you are familiar with Revit or any platforms, you know the procedure, right? So yeah, let's jump away to sorry, some of the documents. I told you about certain BEP and the naming convention standards, how it is documented over there in a real life project. I'll be showing that. I can't share you the file, but I'll be showing you the PPT. Okay. So this is an exchange information requirement document. I hope you can see that. So this one. Okay. So this is a particular EIR from a reputed company. And here they have detailed all the information. We will be starting from just like precise document. We'll be having the abbreviations of all those things, how the naming should be there, all those things will be there. And I was discussing about the naming standards. I'll just jump to that page and you'll be getting an idea. Yeah, here you can see in the BEP, you have to specify the typical naming convention, because whoever is involved in the BIM project or the project will be referring to the BEP. So whenever he creating a model or a sheet, he had to save it, or he had to create that, but referring to this typical naming conventions. So in your competitions also, whenever you are creating a particular project, you have to stick to a certain naming convention that is created over there in the BEP. Here you can see, yeah, this is a typical example. So this one, it is a model naming standard. And this particular model naming standard will be having this much area, part 1 to part 8. And one more thing, there are several companies who is referring to ISO 19650, and they can modify the BEP according to the their convenience also. Like what I can say, they can add certain abbreviations, or they can add certain parts, which will be bringing more clarity over there into the naming or whatever standards they are adopting. Okay, so whenever this particular thing, part 1, part 2, part 3, all these things is having a certain codes also, right? If you go over to the project part 2, it is having a project code. And what should be the project code? It should be, it will be unique to a particular project, right? And after that, a contract code will be there. Originator means from where the file is originated, that code will be there. Discipline code will be there. All the things, it will be described over there, the BEP, and you have to stick to that. Okay, I'll be showing you a file also with which they created, they have adopted these naming standards. And also there is another BIM manual is there with me. Here also they have provided certain standards. I hope you are familiar with LODs also, a level of development, where you will be incorporating information and also the metadata. So in the BEP, this is actually a BIM manual of a particular company. Here also they have provided. So whenever they will be creating a particular file, a BIM file, they'll be having these fields, these standards. So BIM, basically, will be sticking to a standard so that the information exchange is very easy. Here you can see the field 1, it will be the project, field 2 will be the originator, so and so. And whoever involved in this particular project will have to follow this one. Okay, anything that is a different or not having the standard will not be accepted over there, because it's very easy. Once you are familiar with the BEP, whenever you look at a document, you will be able to know, okay, so this is a particular document. This is a particular document having this particular suitability. Okay, so this is for coordination. So that kind of things, that kind of steps we can take whenever we adopt BIM standards. Yeah, we can see several for a Revit model, what should be the code. If it is a drawing, should be DWG. All those things are there. It's already documented. Okay, I hope you understood up to here. So let's just jump on to the common data environment, or I'll be referring to BIM 360. It's a product from Autodesk. Yeah. Okay. So BIM Labs Engineering Service Private Limited is the account admin. We have to purchase a license for this one, and it is something like this one. Okay. So we'll be having a license, an account license will be there, and after that, the account admin, we can allocate certain admins also to handle this particular account admins. So me and our MEP coordinator is there, Vishal. He's handling this particular BIM 360 account. And here you can see you can see the interfaces also. You can just log on to BIM 360, and you have to log in using your purchase license login credentials. That's it. After that, you'll be jumping to this particular page. So how to create a project? We are jumping to the practical sections where we'll be creating a project or creating a folder structure. It's very easy. So this is the interface. And in this interface, as an account admin, I'll be able to add the projects. So these are the projects that we've been working on or currently working on or already finished. So in the projects, we'll be able to add projects. The member section, we'll be able to see all the members who is having an access to this particular platform. Even in our projects, whenever we are working on a project, we'll be adding members from our company or other consultants so that we'll be able to collaborate with them. And collaboration is a key process over there in the business. So like that. So the project will be there. We can add members, and after adding members over here in the account admin, we'll be able to invite those members to our projects also. Companies will be there. We'll be having different. We can add persons from different companies and allocate them with the licenses. Roles, and this is an important one. I told you about the information being secured or information exchange being secured. Here you can see certain project roles are here. Architects, BIM manager, construction manager, all those roles are there. And the accessibility to the information, we can actually provide it over here. As an architect, I won't be able, here you can see, I won't be able, I am not having this access. If I click over here, I can provide the access to the project admin. Project admin means, he'll be looking over all the things. He'll be having all the access to the information that is being recorded over there in the BIM 360 platform or the common data platform. Okay, so design engineer, he's only having these access as a document manager, he's having access for a project management, he's having access. So here you will be able to provide the access or restrictions of those things. So whenever we add a member to our project, we have to specify which role that member is having in the project. If he is a BIM manager, he's a project admin, and he'll be having these accesses. So it will be something like that. Okay, I'm not going deep into the one. So let's just create a sample project over here. Okay, in the project area, these are the created sample projects. Let's just go for the project tag. And here you will be able to add your project folder. So whenever I'm creating a project, you have to add the name, and you have to go for project type, what kind of project type is there, the construction type, what will be the value, all the things with the asterisk, you have to provide it compulsory. You can see, and we can just save and continue. So I'm not going to fill all these things because I already created certain projects. I can just go through that one. Okay, so here you'll be creating project, and inside a project, how it will be looking. So after creating a project, it will be listed over here. Right. So this is one of the projects that we are currently working on. 70 minutes. And here you can see these are the members. Whenever I select a project, I'll be able to see the members with which I'm allocated this project. All the members who are working in this project. But as I said myself, I am an account admin. That's why I'm having all the accesses. And also our other account admin, Nishad, there's a BIM manager. He's also having. And here you can see I told you about the roles that I allocated. Here you can see whenever I allocate a particular role to a member, automatically the accesses that I already applied over there in the account page, it will be allocated. So for adding members, it's very easy. First we have to add it. We just have to go for that, and we just have to type in the email ID. See, and after that, we have to go for the add to project. That's it. Okay, we have to first allocate them to the project, then we have to go for the this option, add to project. Okay, so once I get into the project, once I added the projects and once I added the members, after that I had to create a project or a folder structure over here in the BIM 360. there are actually two ways with which we can create a folder system. So I created the project name and everything, and after that I'll be going for the document management. Where in document manager you will be able to see how my documents that is related to this particular project is related. I already have a certain template with which I created this system. So whenever you create a project, you can create the folder system using the same template also. Okay. Here you can see, I told you about WIP stands for work in progress. So here for this particular project, I allocated, whenever you open our BIM 360 into the document management, you'll be able to see these two sections, plans and project files. What I usually do is that whatever that is published or whatever that is approved, I'll be usually putting it over here in the plan. Okay, currently our project, the project that I'm working on is work in progress. So that's why in the project files, I'll be having a work in progress folder. In this work in progress folder, you will be able to see a different subdivisions. And all these subdivisions are based upon the BP folder system that will be following in the BIM project. Right here, actually, you can create subdivisions also. Like since for this particular project, we are on the ID design stage. So we know that no more disciplines will be coming over here. That's why I didn't create a disciplinary level also. Disciplinary level means architectural, structural, BP level. Those kind of things are coming from other consultants. So I didn't create that one. But still, you can go for creating a subfolder. To create a subfolder, it's very easy. You just have to select that, and you can create a subfolder. If I'm going for architectural, you'll be having that architectural folder over here. And and after that, here, if I select this one, I can add another subfolder. Usually, I'll be creating it like this only. Okay, WIP architectural. Under architectural, I'll be having BIM, CAD, export family, sheet files, and certain projects will be having NWC files. Navisworks files will be there. Like I can add that. IUC files will be there. So I can allocate a folder for that one, IUC file. So to be like that. Okay, I hope that hope you understand that. So I can create this one under project files. This is WIP. And I can go for another subfolder that will be shared. It will be depending upon the ISO 19650 standard. I have now two folders. If I am going to publish anything, usually I put that over there the plan, but still you can go over here. You can go for publish folder. And anything you need to archive over there in the cloud, you can just create that one also. So this is how you create a folder system. The project files, if I had to look for anything that is in work in progress, I just have to go for this particular folder. Right. If I go for in the work in progress folder, you will be able to see. I actually have my files over here in the BIM folder. Practical one. So I'll just select that. And here you can see all the files that I uploaded for this particular project. These all are collaborated over here in the cloud itself. You'll be able to see the versions. If any changes that happens to the initial uploaded version, and when we download it, when we upload it again, it will be called version 2. The size uploaded, who uploaded it, if I have any markup on that, all those things will be visible over here in this particular platform. Okay, and I can directly open my project from here also. In the BIM 360 platform, the cloud, you'll be able to open it. Okay, so this is how you create a project folder system over here, the cloud platform. Now I'll be showing you a simpler way where you can create a folder structure or in the desktop connector. So once you have the license and everything, you can just go over here and desktop connector. You can just go for BIM 360 desktop connector. and you will be able to download it. Since I'm using BIM 360, you will be able to download the BIM 360 file. So when, sorry, the desktop connector. So when you download the desktop connector and when I jump into my computer, you'll be able to see this particular one. This is the desktop connector. Okay, this is actually working as a cloud platform, but locally. That's it. We'll be able to see whatever folders I went through over here in this one. I'll just select that. So when I select this one, BIM 360, you'll be able to see the admin account. So BIM Labs Sanjay Service was admin account. And after that, if I went into that, you'll be see all the projects that I created in my BIM 360 account. I selected this one, right? 70 method. If I select this one, you'll be able to see the project files. And the project files, WAP file is there. In that, you'll be able to see the BIM CAD export files, all those things. Okay. So if I want to create a new folder, so here you can see you will be able to create new folders also. So you don't have to go to the network and over there. You have to create it over here also. So I'll just create maybe NWC. This particular project, if I'm having Navisworks files, so I'll be able to create that. So NWC file is created. So now if I go over here and if I refresh this one, here you can see that NWC file folder is created over here. And you'll be able to see after October 19, 438, Rahul Raj BIM Labs created NWC file. So it's very simple, right? You start to download the desktop connector. And you can just add right click over here and you'll be able to see the folder option. To create the folder option, you can just create it. It's very easy. So whenever I creating a particular thing, we'll be able to see the WAP published, shared. So whatever that is over there in the work in progress, I'll be putting out over in this particular one. Whatever that is approved from the work in progress, I'll be putting it or I'll be copying it or moving it to published folder. And after that, if it is shared, sorry, I'll be moving that the work in progress to shared one, because the shared one will be for the approval for other friends. And after that, whatever that is published or whatever that is approved from the shared folder will be going to the published folder. So this is a typical folder structure system over there in the as per ISO 1960. Okay, so that's about creating a particular folder structure through in BIM 360 and also in through desktop connector. And one more thing, I told you about providing access of information or to the access to a particular folder source. So here you can see if I go over here to WIP and there is a 3 dots over here. If I select this one and there is an option called permissions. So if I select permissions, we'll be able to see whoever is having the permission to access the files inside this particular folder. So whenever when I invite Hamza, you can see Hamza, and he'll be able to see only this particular folder. He won't be able to see any other particular folder. It is inherited. The below folders are also inherited to him. He'll be accessing all these things. But if I want to allocate only the NWC files, I'll be able to provide the permission for that one. Okay, so this is how you provide the permissions to informations from BIM 360. Okay, that's one. Now I will just jump to the real Revit file. So currently for this particular project, I'm using Revit 2019. Okay, so where it will be prescribed that you have to use it, it will be over there in the BEP. Okay, so the project started, I think, 1 year back. So in BEP, they said we have to use this particular version and this particular update. So 2019.2 will be the version that I'll be using for this particular project. I'm having 2020, 21 and also, but for this particular project, as per BEP, I have to use 2019. Okay, so when I select the Revit file, you'll be able to see a folder system over here also. When you connect it to the BIM 360, when you log in, you know that now Revit is having a network license. So whenever we log into the A360 or our account, we'll be able to see the BIM 360 projects that we have access to. And you will be able to see 70 method, Samhan method, Samhan Hotel ID was the project that I shown you over there in the cloud. Is also over here. If I select this one, I'll be able to see the same folder structure. Okay, if I select this, if I go to the project files, if I go to the WIP, if I go to the BIM, so I know the route. Right, for a particular project, if I have to go to a work in progress model, I have to go through these folders. So it's a standard. So there is no confusion. That's it. Okay, so these are the project. I'll just open up one project where you will be able to see how the folder system is set up over there on the project browser also. So I'll just go for this one. And here you can see the file names. The project, I told you about a file convention, file naming conventions also. So this is actually the project code BU018. Say will be the originator code. ID will be the discipline code. General means it's the general arrangement. For I think the volume, the plan, the building name, and also the code. So all these are actually over there, the BIM manual I already shown you. Here you can see these are the BIM manual, and if I go for main sheet, you can see it is a main sheet or a main model that I am opening. 0001. So I know that whenever I see a particular file name, I'll be able to see, okay, this is a main model. So if I want to access the grid and level model, I'll be able to see, okay, so 000 is having that grid and levels file, because when we work on a project, we'll be having a lot of links also. So in that links, if a file is having a 0000100 extension, it is a grid and level file. That's it. Okay, and okay, since you're in BIM projects, you need to know about the view template settings, how to create a work set, how to collaborate that over there in the cloud. All those things you have to be familiar with. Now, I'm just going to explain all those. We won't be having that much time. Okay, so I'm just opening a project model that I already created. Here you can see it. I am just opening it from the cloud. Okay, I collaborated this particular project over there in the cloud. I'm just opening it. I'm just gonna run through the certain interfaces. Not going to create anything. Run through the interfaces, how they arrange the project browser and all that, and you can see it. Okay, so for relay, since it's opening from the cloud, and you need to have a proper network also. So, yeah, show details you'll be able to see. The link is downloaded, and in this particular project, we are having a certain links. I'll show you that, and it is also having that attention. The structure in this particular project, I'll show you that several stakeholders like structural engineers, MVP engineers, lighting consultants, all of them are working. So they all have to stick to this naming conventions. That's why whenever I open it, it will be loading a certain Revit links which have the same standard name conventions. Here you can see the Revit links. It is having naming conventions, but you can see the discipline code. This one is for architectural, LT means lighting model. A lighting model, this is the main model. So whenever I see a name, I'll be able to identify, okay, this is this particular model. This is coming from this particular originator. So there are something like that. Okay, so in our second section, what we are actually having, we have to provide the project information, right? So whenever we start a project, we need to provide the project information, project description, project address, all those things has to provide. And for that, we know that you have to go for the manage, right? The manage, we have to go for the project informations, and we have to provide all these things. Right. So that will be our first point, applying project information to the BIM model according to the BP. So in the BP document, we'll be providing all the project information, available location, all those things, and the same has to be reflected over here also, right? The project location, everything has to be here, and there is an option over here to plot the project location. And these are the basic Revit things. I'm not going deep into this one, but the first thing that you have to do is that you have to provide the project information. Whenever you are starting a project, you have to go for the project information. This is the basis. So when even in a BEP, we will be providing the project information at the initial pages. So this is important. Okay. And after that, what you have to do is that if you are collaborating it in the cloud, we have to go for the collaborate option, and we have to go for the since it's already collaborated, you won't be able to see the collaborating cloud option. But if you are initially collaborating it in the cloud, you will be able to see an option over here, just beside the worksite. You can collaborate it or save it over in the cloud model. Okay, so it will be saving as a central model, and you need to know that what is a central model, what is a local copy, all those things you need to have an idea. Okay, so for this particular project, let's see how they created the folder structure. Okay, and I told you in this particular project, I'm not having different disciplines. Okay, we are working as an ID consultant, so we only have a particular discipline, ID or architecture. Usually comes under architecture. So what they did is that they created certain groups with which they can arrange the project browser. Okay, it comes to the second portion, modify the project browser organization according to the BP. Okay, if you are working on a large scale project where the client is where you will be dealing with different disciplines also, you can actually arrange the project browser according to your discipline and according to the project parameters that you are defining for the views. And we know that the project browser, we are actually arranging the views, right? It's a basic thing. We can create several view subgroups or view groups to arrange it. So according to the BEP or ISO 19650, if I had to have that WIP shared public publish or archive folders, what should I do? I'll be creating a project parameter, right? And I'll be creating in the project parameter, I'll be defining certain groups that will be relating to the views, to arrange the views. This is the basic thing. This is how you create I'm not going all the way how you can create a project parameter, all those things, but you have to be familiar with this idea, how to organize the project. So whenever you are creating according to the BP, you have to look for certain allocated project parameters with which you can arrange the project process. In this particular project, they actually arranged it in two divisions, view group and view subgroups. These are the two created project parameters that will arrange the views over there in the project browser. I'll show you that. So if I go over here, if I'm selecting a plan, you'll be able to see that particular project parameter is over here. View group and view subgroup is there. Right. If I'm selecting this one, you'll be able to see view group and view subgroup is there. And this is already defined over there in the view templates also. So you need to have a clear idea about what is a view template, because whenever we are working on a project, we have to create a certain levels of information that has to be reflected mainly in the layout, right? So the easy way is to create a view templates. So these are the view templates that is defined for this particular project. And in this particular project, you will be able to see the view group and view subgroup. So whenever I put the view, whenever I apply that certain view template to this particular view, automatically the view group and view subgroup is assigned to that one. Right. Okay, let's jump to this portion where how we can organize the thing. So here you can see in this particular one, the views are arranged under sheet views, right? Under sheet views, under setting out plans, we are having these plan views. So we have a 2-level browser organization over here. So if I select this one, if I go for the right click and I go for the browser organization, you'll be able to see they created a view organization settings to organize the project browser. So if I go for the edit, if I go here, sorry, you can see it is first grouped by the view group and then by subgroup. So whenever I select a plan, you will be able to see it is under view group sheet views, and in the subgroup it is setting out plans. Now you can figure it out, right? So if I am selecting a plan, and if I am applying WIP as a view group, and it will be coming under that, right? And after that, if I have to arrange that according to the disciplines that are involved in this project, I'll be able to organize that over here. The program organization, if I go over here, by grouping and sorting, just select that. All the project parameters that is related to the views, it will be listed over here. View group and view group, subgroup is there. If you are having different disciplines, you can just go for select the discipline also. So under WIP, under discipline, you can go for the folder structure that you are okay. The whatever the plans, the models, all those things. Yeah. Okay. So this is the settings where you will be organizing your project process. Okay. And after that, creating grids and levels. Simple. It's the basic one. So to go for the view option and where you will be creating. Sorry. Under architecture, you have to go for the data elements. Under data, you will be creating the grids and levels. Right. The grids you will be able to see. Already created those grids. Sorry, select. And for this particular project, I can give a brief where the main aim was to convert the IFC issue for construction drawings to Revit model or BIM model. They already provided us with the CAD layouts also. The CAD files were there. We just had to follow the CAD files, and we had to create BIM models based on the CAD files. That's it. So all these grid system, it was already defined. We just had to select it. We just had to convert those grid lines into the Revit elements. Very easy. You just had to pick it, right? So whenever we are having a CAD file, we just have to pick it. So those are actually the basic things. Basic modeling things that you need to be familiar with. And also creating levels is there, and importing a CAD file. It's very easy. That's our last portion where we had to create a Revit file with reference and DWG files. It's very easy, right? If I go to the insert option, you'll be able to see all the type of files that you can import over here. We can import Revit, we can import CAD files, we can link CAD. Link CAD means whenever we change a CAD file over there in the parent file, it will be reflected over here also when we reload. Import means we'll be creating a copy of that file and we'll be pasting it over here. So like that. So these are the basic things. This is under insert. You will be able to link CAD or import CAD. If I'm select this one, we have to go to the folder where we have saved it, and whether we want to preserve it. I think you can see J01 is a simple CAD. We have to look for the import units. This is an important one. Import units, how the CAD file is created. If it is in centimeter, we have to select the centimeter. Now, sometimes the auto dictate doesn't work. We have to scale it again. So it's good to provide the import units over here. Positioning is also important whenever you are defining a project. Right, you will be providing a project location also. I think you are familiar with it, right? So if I go to the manage tab, there is an option called project location. Here you will be providing the project location, and I think you are familiar with the concept of survey point, project base point, and etc., where we will be providing the x and y distances. Right. So for this particular project, we did had a X and Y distance depending upon the site. Usually the site will be having a 00 point or a datum file that is defined by the surveyor. And after that, with respect to that, what is the actual project location of this one that we'll also be able to see. Right. So all those things you need to have an idea. So in brief, setting up the common data environment, you have to please go through the 19650 where you are establishing CD. Please go through that. Please read through that. It's very easy. Once you grasp the concept, it's very easy. You start to follow certain methods. Right. First, the account will be there. Account admin will be there. From there, we'll be creating project. That project will be adding members. Project information will be added, and also the folder structure will be there where we'll be allocating the informations. And if I come to the Revit, the same can be done through the desktop connector if you are using BIM 360. That was the initial first portion. The second one, how to create the what is the folder structure, that WP shared, published and archived. Those things should be in your mind whenever you are working on a BIM. Or in the BP, just read about how a BEP created, what are the main elements over there, standard naming convention that you have to be familiar with. Okay, so whenever you save a project or save a file, it should be having that naming convention. I'll show a sheet also. Here you can see the drawing number. The model is also having a particular naming standard, and the drawing is also having a particular standard. Right, since it's a model, that's why it's called ZZZ. Since it's a level 0 or at the ground level, that's why it's having an extension L00. So how to differentiate between that, all those things you have to know. All these things will be documented over there in the BEP. So BEP creation is one thing. Please try to download one sample BEP and go through that. How the naming standards are created. How the follow structure is created, all those things will be there. Okay, so these are some of the for the first section. I think this will be enough. Okay. Okay, to wind up. So best of luck. Please go through the documents. I just given you an outline about what all these things are. Just try to collect the information based on main key topics that is listed over there in the module. Try to document it, have a record with you since you are going for a competition, and try to practice this also. Okay, so the main important thing will be how to establish a project structure or a follow structure, how to organize a browser. That will be the initial BIM setup. So only after that we will be going for the model page. Okay, so the standardizing a BIM setup is the primary thing, and I hope you got an outline. So only an outline. Yeah, and thank you for spending your time also.
Yeah,
If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, thank you
drop
so
down
much,
here.
sir. Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, participants, if you have any question, any doubt, please raise. Like just ask. If you this was just the overview session, and this webinar series continuously goes on. So we will discuss. We will take each and every like topic one by one, so that you can get the clear picture of this competition, and then you can prepare yourself according to that. So if you have any question, any doubt, you can ask now.
And there is a question from Maulik. How many employees can be added to a single 360 license? Okay. Usually the licenses for an admin license, we purchase 20 licenses with us. So each of the users, they will be having one particular license. For one system or one BIM 360 service, we'll be having one license. But the employees, the members that we can add on to the project, it is limited to 100 or 100 or 50. That I have to confirm. Shizar, or do you have any of that? Shizu is not here.
Okay. Anyways, so yes, any other question, guys and girls?
Sir, can we access BIM 360 like at least just for us to have a look around through this, because like
Yeah,
I
the
know
demo-
like you're giving.
Demo account is also there. You can just
Sorry, what?
demo account is there. You can just
Yeah,
go
it's-
to BIM 360 and you can just type in it's a 14-day trial also, and just access it.
Oh, okay, okay, sure, thanks.
ISO code. There's another question from Muhammad. ISO code freely available. Yeah, ISO code you can just download it. ISO just type in ISO 19650 part 2, I think, so that for the delivery information exchange you can download it. It's a good book actually. Since you're into BIM, please go through that at least once. Okay, it's very documented, and whenever we are going to work in a MNC or we are dealing with a higher profile projects, we need to have an idea about that standards. So
yeah,
yeah.
you're talking about concrete codes, huh?
Means 19650, that code.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think these things are available on the internet.
Hello?
Yes, yes,
Soft
yes.
copies.
Hi, I just have one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I just forgot the question. I'm just recollecting it.
Keshwar, you are on mute. You were on mute actually. Again, you are on mute. Again, you are on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. What is the standard book that you are mentioning? ISO online? What was it? Like I was just
ISO 19650. ISO 19650.
19650. Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Initially, it was a British standards, PAS 1192. And after that, we combined I think, two codes into one, like one and international standard. Oh, you just had to refer to this one. And
Okay,
so,
okay.
so one, yeah. Okay.
Yes, anything else? Any other question?
Maybe we can do one thing. I think we are having a series of webinars, right? Just go
Yes,
through the
yes, we are
documents once.
having a
If you are
series.
having any question,
Okay.
just note it down. You can just ask tomorrow. Because our colleagues will be having this discussion anyways. Just consider this an introductory one. But also just go through that module thoroughly. Those lot of key points are there. Just have a research on that one also. Okay.
Sorry, sir. One more question. Like, when do we get access to the recording?
I think
You will get it immediately after. Like Siju sir will share this, or maybe on the group, or I will share on the group. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, anything else? Any other question? Okay. If you are okay with this, then I guess we can call it off for the day. We'll share the recording with everyone. Don't worry. That will
thank
share.
you.
And next session is on 21st. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.